I'm a veterinarian. I once stitched up a dog's throat with a fishing line in the bed of a pickup truck, while the owner held a flashlight in his mouth and cried like a child. That was back in 1979, maybe 1980. Just outside a small town near the Tennessee border. No clinic, no clean table, no anesthesia, unless you count bootleg whiskey. But the dog lived. And that man still sends me a Christmas card every year, even though the dog's long gone. And so is his wife. I've been a vet for 40 years. 4 decades of blood under my fingernails and fur stuck to my clothes. Back then, you did whatever you could with whatever you had, not whatever you could bill for. These days, I spend half my time explaining insurance codes and treatment costs, while a bleeding beagle waits in the next room. I used to think this job was about saving lives. Now I know it's about helping people hold the pieces together when things fall apart. I started in 1985, fresh out of the University of Georgia, full head of hair, full of hope. My first clinic was a brick building off a gravel road, leaky roof when it rained, rotary phone, fridge that rattled, a heater that worked when it felt like it. But people came. Farmers, factory workers, retirees, every now and then a trucker with a pit bull riding shotgun. They didn't ask for much. A shot here, a stitch there, or a peaceful goodbye when it was time. And we always knew when it was time. No arguments, no online shaming, no alternative protocols. Just a quiet understanding between a person and their dog that the pain had become too much. And they trusted me to carry that weight. Some days I drove my old Chevy out to a barn where a horse had broken a leg, or to a front porch where an old hound hadn't eaten in 3 days. I'd sit with the owner, hand them a tissue, and wait. I was never in a rush. Because back then, we held them when they went. Now people sign papers and ask if they can pick up the ashes next week. I still remember the first dog I ever had to put down. A German shepherd named Rex got caught in a combine. His owner, Walter Jennings, was a World War II vet, tough as barbed wire and twice as sharp. But when I told him Rex couldn't be saved, the man collapsed right there on the clinic floor. Didn't say a word, just nodded. And then, and I'll never forget this, he kissed Rex on the nose, whispered, "You did good, boy." Then he turned to me and said, "Make it quick. Don't let him wait." So I did. That night, I couldn't sleep. I sat on the porch with a cigarette, staring at the stars until sunrise. That's when I realized this job isn't just about animals. It's about people, about the love they carry for something that will never outlive them. Now it's 2025. My hair's white. My hands aren't steady anymore. Since last spring, there's been a tremor that won't quit. The clinic's still here, but now it's all white walls, registration software, and a 28-year-old marketing guy asking me to film TikToks with my patients. I told him I'd rather neuter myself. Back then, we worked off instinct. Now it's algorithms and liability forms. Last week, a woman came in with a bulldog in respiratory distress. I told her we needed to intubate and keep him overnight. She pulled out her phone and asked if she could get a second opinion. From some influencer she follows online. I just nodded. What else can you do? Sometimes I think about retiring. I almost did during COVID. That was a nightmare. Patients dropped off in the parking lot, barking behind closed doors, masks hiding the tears, saying goodbye through a car window. No one to hold them when they left. That nearly broke me. But then a kid walks in with a box of kittens he found in his granddad's barn. and his eyes light up when I let him help feed one. Or I patch up a golden retriever torn up by barbed wire, and the owner brings me a pecan pie the next day. Or an old man calls just to say thank you, not for the treatment, but because I sat with him after his dog passed. Didn't say a word. Just let the quiet do the healing. That's why I stay. Because no matter how much changes, apps, forms, lawsuits, Google diagnoses, one thing doesn't. People still love their animals like family. And when that love runs deep, it shows up in quiet ways. A trembling hand on soft fur, a whispered goodbye, an empty wallet offered without hesitation, a grown man crying in my office because his dog won't live to see the fall. Doesn't matter the year, the tech, the trend. That never changes. A few months ago, a man came in carrying a shoebox. Said he found a kitten near the railroad tracks. Leg injured, flea-ridden, ribs poking out like piano keys. He didn't look much better himself. Said he'd just gotten out of prison, didn't have a cent. But could I help? I looked in the box. The kitten opened her eyes and meowed like she already knew me. I nodded and said, "Leave her with me. Come back Friday." We splinted her leg, fed her warm milk every 2 hours, and named her Boomer. The man came back that Friday with a half-eaten apple pie and tears in his eyes. Said no one had ever given him anything without first asking what he had to offer. I told him animals don't care what you've done. They only care how you hold them now. 40 years, thousands of lives. Some saved, some not. But all of them mattered. I keep a drawer in my desk, locked. No one touches it. Inside are old photos, thank you notes, collars, tags. A biscuit from a border collie named Scout who once saved a boy from drowning. A clay paw print from a cat that used to sleep on a gas station counter. A crayon drawing from a little girl who called me her hero because I made her hamster breathe again. Sometimes I pull it open, late at night, when the clinic's dark and I'm still here, and I remember. I remember before the screens, before the apps, before flashy cures and credit checks. Back when being a vet meant driving through mud at midnight for a breached calf, because you were the only one they trusted. Back when we stitched with fishing line and hoped. Back when we held them as they went, and held their people too. If there's one thing I've learned in this life, it's this. You can't save them all. But you try your damnedest. And when it's time to say goodbye, you stay. You don't flinch. You don't rush. You kneel down, look them in the eyes, and stay until the last breath leaves the room. That's the part they don't teach you. Not in vet school, not in textbooks. That's the part that makes you human. And I wouldn't trade it for the world.